I couldn't fathom. I was just like, everybody was like cheering. I was like, wow, like this is insane. Like just being able to show up, even like if you know you're not capable of it, just finishing what you started. That's the biggest thing, is just like, regardless of what possible skills you had or whatever, just showing up and finishing what you started. I am just so excited. I'm honestly like, as much as I'm excited to be on here, I can't lie. I'm just like very excited to see, like, you know, I always want to do something like this and excited to see what the feedback is. Not just because like, oh, people pay attention to me. It's mostly like, what is it that they're going to take away from this podcast? Like what I say and what I'm going to tell, like just as genuine and as vulnerable as I can be, you know?
It's similar to what Trey experienced when he was able to receive your insight and your feedback as a viewer, you watching from afar.
The fact that it's someone I don't even know, and it's like just listening to it, willing to take the initiative just to listen to what this person has to say, and just hearing, I'm like, wow, like talking about his mom, and the fact that all the stuff that he was saying, I relate to it. And like, it was just, like I said, it was someone I didn't know. And it's like, wow, just getting that perspective, really just getting that perspective and understanding, like, I'm not the only one that feels this, because I'm so cooped up in my little pigeon coop a lot that I forget there's people that actually can go through the similar shit that I'm going through. It's just that I haven't seen enough of it or took the initiative to like, see other people's perspective that I don't even know.
Which again, now substantiates his worldview in knowing that he can come on here and explain his story and his life experiences and find that they actually do make a difference to other people.
Yeah, and that's something I've always wanted to achieve, like through my stuff. And like there was a point in time, like 2017, 2018, I was just posting on Snapchat, trying to post positive messages and just like trying to help people get through their day. Like that was my goal. But
were you doing it for you? Were you doing it for them? Who were you doing it for?
I would say it's a mixture of both, for sure. Because at that time, like when I was younger, I was just like, this is at the time when I was going to college up in a new place where I was like, oh, I can finally be the person I want to be. And like, I want to be this positive person. But then of course I got a little carried away where I became very arrogant and egotistical. And like, even then not realizing at the time I was just being arrogant, like not knowing the situation and just
lacking that self-awareness.
Yeah. Like that's something I'm just now barely starting to understand, is that self-awareness. Cause like a lot of years, I was not that type of person, like at all.
How many followers you got on TikTok?
About 62,000.
62,000. Why don't you make that shit official? Didn't you apply and make it official after 10,000?
Something like that. I don't know. I don't like to be arrogant. Be like, yeah, I got 60,000 because you know that inflating of the ego. I'm like, I don't want to.
Man, do you was a lot of the displacement of your arrogance based off of certain growth you had maintained up to that point? Because I know you lost a lot of weight. Was that weight loss in high school? And then when you went off to college, you were like on top of the world? Is that kind of how it went? Like what was the order in which you got to that point where you're at that top of the world, where you're at the peak of that mountain?
Definitely throughout my 4 years of high school, when I started losing weight, it wasn't like, it was just very gradual. Like I wasn't like going super crazy. I was just like, first thing I did was freshman year, I started taking started doing weights class. By the end of my freshman year, I lost about maybe 10 pounds. I was from 195 to like 181. And then my sophomore year, I went from 180 to about 160. Okay. Junior year was 160 to 140. And that's where like my weight loss just stopped. Like 140 was like, okay, I can't lose any more weight than that. Right. And then after losing all that weight, I still had like little baby fats doing all that stuff. And then I decided to actually, my second semester of junior year was to do football conditioning. Off-season football conditioning,
man,
and
some of the worst,
dude. I don't know. A part of me thinks of like why I did it, but I'm so glad I did. And man, those first couple of weeks of football conditioning, oh my goodness, man, I just remember like I'm gonna die, like, and just like dry heaving, throwing up, and I'm like, I have to finish what I started. Like every single practice, every single off-season football conditioning workout, every single summer practice, every single practice from the beginning to end, I showed up, every single one, and I sucked. I was so bad at catching a football. Like they put me at wide receiver. I could not catch a ball to save my life. But yeah, I just still showed up because I
showed up.
I just felt like I couldn't give up on this. I could not. Like I would at the time I felt like I couldn't forgive myself if I just gave up, like just left it like that. It's like I have to finish what I started. And at the end of it, like the end of the season before playoffs kicked off, every team meeting, we would get together, all of us, and we would have like awards for the past week. It would be offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week, special teams, and then they would have an inspirational player of the week. And it was the last game of the regular season where the coach brought up the inspirational player of the week, and I thought it was nothing. Like, oh, okay. And then he just started going in depth about how this guy just kept showing up regardless of his skills. He would show up every single day, every single workout. And then he said my name, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, I couldn't fathom it. I was just like, everybody was like cheering. I was like, wow, like this is insane. Like just being able to show up, even like if you know you're not capable of it, just finishing what you started. That's the biggest thing, is just like, regardless of what possible skills you had or whatever, just showing up and finishing what you started.
Day by day, brick by brick, you maintained and displayed a level of integrity and discipline that quite literally you had no idea was being recognized from afar by your coaches, because for you, it was just about showing up. For you, it wasn't about getting that award. For you, it wasn't about getting the accolades, getting the recognition. And for your coaches to see that, not say nothing, but to recognize you're still showing up day in and day out. Skills, ability, none of that matters at that point. What matters is the savage work ethic and discipline it takes for anybody to endure not only showing up, but showing up when you're not getting the explicit reward and gratification by going out and actually playing, making plays, doing all that shit. You showed up, you went to practice, and if you're on the sidelines, guess what? Playing in the game was least relevant than the discipline of showing up to practice every day leading up to that game.
Yeah, and that whole season, I only played 2 games, but honestly, being in that game, it felt good just being on it. Although the very first play I was supposed to block someone, this dude just yanked me on the ground. like I was 140 pounds of just pure skin and bone.